I was speaking at a national conference several years ago. There were several CEOs in the room. After the program was over, one of the CEOs ran over to the side of the stage and said, Clint, I need you to come speak to my organization. I have about 300 people in my organization, and I need you to come speak. We do an annual event. I think your message would be perfect for this group. So we worked out the details. I went to speak. It was set up very similar to this with tables in the room. I got there early. I got all the audio visual set up, and I was standing over at the side of the room when they opened the doors and all of the people started to come into the room. As I was standing there by that side door, the CEO walked through that side door. And he walked over, he grabbed my arm, and he said, hey. He said, you see that lady right there? I said, yeah. He said, she's my biggest oh no. She's the reason you're here. And you need to fix her. I said, you brought me here for one person? He said, I did. I said, we could have done this a lot cheaper than this. And I walked over, and I drug a chair over. Now, he gave me a little information about her before I got over to her. And I drug my chair over, and I spun around. I said, hey. I said, I hear you've been here a long time. She said, 34 years. I said, 34 years? Wow. I said, how long has the company been around? She said, 34 years. She said, I was one of 3 people that started this organization. She said, the other 2 smart enough to leave. I'm the last one left. She said, and so I am still here doing the deal. She said, and I have seen it all. I've seen every leadership change we've had. I've seen every new CEO we've had. I've seen every new flavor of the month training program we've ever had. I've been through it all. And she said, I have to tell you, I am exhausted. I said, wow. I said, we're going to be talking about employee engagement today. And I'm going to identify 3 types of employees in any organization. I'm going to identify those people at the top that are productive and loyal, enthusiastic, energetic, those people I call the oh yeahs. We're going to be talking about the okays, those people who just show up every day. They do the bare minimum to get by, they collect a paycheck, and they go home. And I said, then we're going to be talking about those and by the way, I call those the okays, and then those people at the bottom of the organization that really are kind of dragging down the culture because of the way they see things. And I said, I call those the oh no's. I'm just curious, before we get started, where do you think you fall? She looked at me with a straight face and pulled her shoulders back and said, well, I'm an oh yeah. I said, you are? She said, oh yeah. She said, I am. She said, now, let me clarify something for you. She said, because I've been here for 34 years, I don't tolerate any nonsense. She said, if I see somebody doing something they're not supposed to do, I'll call them out. If I hear somebody saying something they shouldn't say, I will go call them out. If the president of the company says something and does something that I think is wrong, I will charge right into his office and tell him, I'm not even supposed to go in that end of the building. I do not care. I charge right in there and I tell him what I think. If I'm with a group of employees and one of them is not willing to take accountability for their actions, I'll call them out right there in the office. There can be a big group of people around. I do not care. I will not tolerate any nonsense. She said, now, because of that, might be a few people here who disagree with my assessment. She said, but I'm an oh yeah. I said, all righty then. So I went up, I got on the stage, I gave the presentation. I was doing some ongoing coaching with this particular client. I was doing coaching with each of their C-suite individuals. And so we were going to leave there and go back to their offices. We go back to their offices. I went into each of their executives and I asked them specifically about this woman because I wanted to know where the disconnect was. Was it that the CEO was seeing her wrong, or is that she was seeing herself wrong? And what I've determined by the end of that day was that the CEO was right. She was the biggest oh no in that organization. But legitimately, through her eyes, she was an oh yeah. You see, she thought that her unwillingness to tolerate nonsense and her protection of the culture as she thought it should be, she saw that as a positive thing. And because she had been there so long, she just kept pushing and pushing and pushing so that it would be the way she wanted it to be, and she thought she was helping. When in reality, she was the biggest oh no in that organization.